If you're not all incredibly mad about this thing, then it's time to start getting angry, okay? Take a few deep breaths, drink some caffeine, do whatever it is that you got to do to get really mad, okay? Because Boy Scouts has taken the boy out of the name Boy Scouts, and apparently this is something worth getting really, really, really mad about. Boy Scouts of America is changing its name to a more inclusive Scouting America after years of woes. Now, this is coming after a bunch of controversy and conflict with the Boy Scouts organization, primarily the fact that Boy Scouts is currently declaring bankruptcy due to the fact that so many men have come forward alleging abuse at the hands of scout leaders when they were children. So they're working to rebrand the Woke Scouts for this very reason. The organization began allowing gay youth in 2013 and ended a blanket ban on gay adult leaders in 2015. Yeah, that's good. Could you imagine just like, no, you're gay, so you're not allowed in the organization? That's it? Like other organizations, the Boy Scouts of America lost members during the pandemic when participation was difficult. After a high point over the last decade of over 2 million members in 2018, the organization currently serves just over 1 million youths. The move to accept girls throughout the Boy Scouts ranks strained a bond with the Girl Scouts of the USA, which sued, saying it created marketplace confusion and damaged its recruitment efforts. This was rejected by the court, however. Much of the online criticism involved the word woke, including Representative Andrew Clyde, a Georgia Republican, who said on Twitter, "Wokeness destroys everything it touches." That's weird because the Boy Scouts kind of destroyed itself by abusing a bunch of people, right? It says the Boy Scouts' $2.4 billion bankruptcy reorganization plan took effect last year, allowing the organization to keep operating while compensating the more than 80,000 men who say they were sexually abused as children while in scouting. So the Boy Scouts, or the Scouts of America now, obviously has had a very, very controversial past. They've obviously not been involved in some very savory activities, whether it's SA or whether it's just being blatantly discriminatory towards gay people or girls for some reason. So obviously now this organization is trying to rebrand itself and appear more inclusive as well. Really, there's nothing wrong with this at all, unless, of course, you're a conservative and your job is to get super triggered by everything. Apparently, Mark Dice was complaining about this also, because I have Brett Cooper complaining about it. I didn't know Mark Dice was whining about this also.
The Boy Scouts have gone woke, and while this is oddly new news to many Americans that the organization, formerly known as the Boy Scouts of America, are officially changing their name to Scouting America in order to be more inclusive, they actually went woke almost 10 years ago. In fact, 5 years ago, they started allowing girls and then unofficially started calling themselves the Scouts, while apparently not legally changing the name of the organization. So that appears to be why this is now making headlines across the country, because they made it official that they're changing to Scouting America. Here's the CEO explaining.
Okay, seriously, why does anybody have a problem with this, though? Like, I'm pretty sure Mark Dice is far too old to be in the Boy Scouts anyway, so why the hell does he have an issue with this? It's just such a non-issue to complain about.
Their new cultural Marxist agenda. I'm sorry, I mean their inclusive agenda.
Sends this really strong message to everyone in America that they can come to this program, they can bring their authentic self, they can be who they are.
Cultural Marxist code word.
Cultural Marxist code word is be who you are? Cultural Marxists want us all to be comfortable in our own skin.
Words for you know what.
All right, and they will be welcomed here. The argument that I make with the people that say, well, I always like Boy Scouts of America or BSA, why do we have to change? Go, membership is at historic lows, right? Part of my job is to reduce all the barriers I possibly can for people to accept us as an organization and to join.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, that sounds like a very normal business goal to have. If your attendance is down and your goal is to have more attendance, then obviously you are you're going to want to reduce the barriers that are currently in the way of some people attending. This is just such obvious business, this is just normal business behavior.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to assume your gender. Carbon-based life form. The reason why the Boy Scouts membership has been dropping so dramatically over the last 10 or 15 years is because most kids are addicted to their mobile device, and instead of leaving their bedroom and hanging out with their friends in real life and building forts or skateboarding or building ramps and jumping their bike or toilet papering neighbors' houses in the summer, is because they are staring at their social media accounts.
Oh my God, it's just the damn phone is all the problem. This is why boys don't want to be out building tents anymore. Because they'd all rather be staring at their mobile device. Dude, this guy, he's just such a boomer.
Endlessly scrolling, having their souls and their social skills sucked out of their brain by multinational corporations. But that's not the only problem plaguing the Boy Scouts. A decade ago, they lifted their long-standing ban on gay scout leaders. But of course, the mainstream conservative political pundits and Republicans in Congress were too cowardly to say anything about it because they didn't want to be called homophobic.
Was that part supposed to be funny? Oh, is this like what boomers do for memes now? Is this boomer meme? Is this a boomer meme?
But I'm sure...
Dude, why is he now complaining and whining about there being gay people in the organization? Oh no, is he actually going to try to say that because they allowed gay people in, that's why they have all these allegations of abuse? He does know that all those allegations of abuse started way, way back before they allowed gay people in the organization, right?
All the new diversity had no detrimental effects on the organization whatsoever, right? Diversity is always a strength. Oh, wait, what's this? Oh, that's right. They're in the midst of a $2.46 billion lawsuit because there's a bunch of Jeffrey Epstein types in the organization. So you know.
What? Gay people are Jeffrey Epstein types? Jeffrey Epstein wasn't gay. Okay. So yeah, I knew he was going to do this because they allowed gay people in and now they have this lawsuit regarding SA. It's because of gay people that SA took place. This is fucking bullshit. This lawsuit was filed and alleged abuse taking place way, way back, far before 2013 when they started allowing gay people in the organization.
No, this year and forevermore, they're going to be celebrating Pride Month and giving a merit badge for the best drag queen performance, just like the Girl Scouts have been doing for who knows how long. This from girlscouts.org, celebrating Rainbow Pride Month.
The Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts are completely separate organizations, so much so that the Girl Scouts literally was suing the Boy Scouts for trampling on their name and their business as well. So you bringing up the Girl Scouts having some pro-LGBT stuff to say the Boy Scouts is bad is just embarrassing. It shows that you know fucking nothing.
With a special patch. Following are a few recommendations for you to consider as you prepare to participate in the LGBTQ plus Pride Month celebration. I am a Girl Scout fun patch.
Is this just him like whining about gay people the whole time, I guess? Okay, so because they just changed a name and want the organization to be more inclusive and accepting, now all of a sudden this is all like going woke. I, of course, also have this video from Brett Cooper,
Welcome back to the
which I was planning on going over. They took the boy out of Boy Scouts. Let's see, what's Brett Cooper going to whine about today?
Welcome back to the comment section. I'm Brett Cooper. So I might have mentioned this to you guys before, but when I was a kid, I desperately wanted to be a Boy Scout. I mean, all three of my brothers are Eagle Scouts. My parents were Scout leaders and Cub Scout leaders. Like, I grew up in that world. Everything they did sounded so much fun. You know, they would come home for the camping trips. I just like desperately wanted to go. And you know, as a tomboy, I wanted to camp. I wanted to backpack. I wanted to rock climb and start fires, build things, not craft and just sell.
And somehow, though, she's still going to bring this all around to not be... Because I was a little girl that really wanted to be in the Boy Scouts, that's why little girls should be allowed in the Boy Scouts. It's going to be, there are just some things that me as a girl, I'm not able to do because I'm a girl, and boys need to have their own thing too. That's what she's going to say. I'm calling it right now.
Thin Mints, which in my area, that's really all the Girl Scouts focus on. I know that there are other chapters that did amazing, very cool things, but in Chattanooga, Tennessee, the chapter at that time was not what I was interested in. But of course, because I was a girl, joining the Boy Scouts was not an option. Obviously, duh. My mom was like, suck it up, babe. There's nothing you can do. But then, just a few years later, the Boy Scouts announced that they would be accepting girls into the program, and not just girls who thought they were boys, no, regular girls. And now,
What? Wait, why are you mad about this? So your whole upbringing, you wanted to be in the Boy Scouts, and now they're actually going to let girls participate in the Boy Scouts also, and you're mad about it? You just said it yourself. The Girl Scouts does not offer the same kind of stuff. The Girl Scouts is like, hey, you want to sell cookies and plant a garden? The Boy Scouts is like, let's go up in the rugged fucking mountains and pitch tents. Like, they're radically different things.
in 2024, they have gone a step further. They have removed boys from the name altogether. Before we dive in, though, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you've not already, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a comment section episode. So they announced this yesterday on their X account, saying, the Boy Scouts of America today announced that it will be rebranding to Scouting America, reflecting the organization's ongoing commitment to welcoming every youth and family in America to experience the benefits of scouting. And here's their new logo, Scouting America. Ah, yes, inclusivity, the name of the game. That is the name of the game in 2024. I mean, it's great.
Inclusivity is like the most triggering word ever to these chuckle fucks. All you need to say is just, hey, we want our organization to be more inclusive, and all of these motherfuckers just melt down into a diabetic coma.
That having gendered spaces for both men and women equally is just not good enough. That is not inclusive enough. No, I'm so sorry. Let's just...
Because they didn't have the spaces for men and women equally. You just said that your Girl Scout chapter didn't give you the same options as the Boy Scouts did. So they were not separate spaces where they were both equal. This wasn't separate but equal, okay?
Blur all the lines. Let's make it all genderless so that it's all inclusive. Anyway, this tweet obviously blew up yesterday and it got ratioed hard, which was so pleasant to watch. And of course, after a few hours of getting the heat in their comment section in the quote tweets, they turned off their replies. Funny how that always works. But the damage was already done. The comments were there for me to enjoy. One person said, this is the dumbest post on X today. Congrats. Somebody else said, you no longer deserve to be an organization. Fold immediately.
I am so confused. How do you begin the video by saying, when I was little, I really wanted so desperately to be part of the Boy Scouts, and now 60 seconds later, you're on the hate train shitting on the Boy Scouts for allowing girls to be part of the organization? I'm so confused. I guess because she wanted to join the Boy Scouts but couldn't, and now that girls can, she feels like it's unfair because she was never able to. So she wants to keep other girls from joining the Boy Scouts as well. Maybe that's why? Maybe like it's like a personal thing?
Now, in their official press release, they offered some more clarifying information, which newsflash did not clarify anything at all. Did not help the situation in the slightest. But they said this announcement also comes as the organization celebrates the 5th anniversary of welcoming girls into Cub Scouting and Scouts BSA programs. Scouting America currently serves more than 172,000 girls and young women across all programs, including over 6,000 who have earned the rank of Eagle Scout. And I'm like, it grinds.
Cool. So based. I guess women and girls can also go camping. I guess girls also know how to tie knots. What do you know?
My gears, because on principle, I know that this is wrong. Women should not be Eagle Scouts because Boy Scouts are for boys, but I'm so jealous also because I wanted to be one. And my mother would have never let me, but I'm angry at the whole situation. Whatever, you guys.
She is. She's actually butthurt and jealous that she didn't get to join the Boy Scouts, and now that they're allowing girls, she doesn't want other girls to join in so that they can suffer just like she had to.
That's ridiculous. Anyway, they went on and the president said, though our name will be new, our mission remains unchanged. Does it though? I think your mission has changed. We are committed to teaching young people to be prepared. Do you want to get more specific about that? What kind of young people? Men? I think that's what you've been doing for...
No, young people, not men anymore. It's not just for boys anymore because girls also can learn how to go camping and survive in the wilderness and whatnot.
Over 100 years, so I think the mission has changed, buddy. Preparing young people for life. This will be a simple but very important evolution as we seek to ensure that everyone feels welcome in scouting. Everyone did feel welcome. That's why this is so ridiculous. There was
No, they didn't. You just started the video by saying you yourself didn't feel welcome because you couldn't even join. You fucking idiot.
Boy and girl scouts. Like, I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone. None of this makes sense. It is really not that complicated. You are twisting yourself up to appease ridiculous people that hate you. Don't do that. I mean, this should be common sense. And if you were a girl like me who was more of a tomboy and wanted to do rough and tumble things with the boys, and your local Girl Scout chapter didn't offer that, you just wouldn't join. And you would suck it up and you would deal with it because that's life.
Oh, really? So I thought you said that there were... I thought you said people already felt included. I thought you said that they already had their own separate spaces. But now you're saying that if a girl really wanted to do the rough and tumble activities associated with Boy Scouts, too bad? Well, where's her equal but separate option, Brett? She's so, how is she doing this? Like, how does she start the video off by being like, I was a girl who would love to be in the Boy Scouts. Now the Boy Scouts are allowing girls, and I'm mad about it. It's like, yeah, if you couldn't buy gas from the gas station because you're black, just suck it up. That's life, you know? If you can't drink from the water fountain because it's only for whites only, suck it up. That's life.
Like, men deserve spaces of their own, just like women. It should not be controversial to say that.
I told you it was gonna be that. I knew it every time the Boy Scouts conversation comes up. Boys need their own safe space away from women. It's so weird.
Commented and said, you destroyed an outlet for boys to be boys and learn to be men. Correct. Male camaraderie and community is vital. They need to play together. They need to learn.
You can't have male camaraderie if there's a girl around, guys. You see, if there's two guys and they're trying to build a campsite together and a girl walks by, the male camaraderie has now been destroyed. It has been nuked. The estrogen has just put out that masculine flame.
Together. They need to fight together. They need to push themselves away from girls, just like girls need spaces to grow together away from men. That is important. It's why I also
that these spaces are not about pushing girls and boys away. So she's against safe spaces except for when she's not. Like, she's literally saying that boys need a safe space away from girls because girls are scary, they have cooties, and boys need their own special little safe space with the other homies. Okay, it's not gay, no homo, where us boys can just be boys together.
also think that it is totally wrong for women to be joining men's sports, especially in sports like football, which we've done episodes about before. I'll link that below. Again, that is totally upside down and ridiculous. And that is actually happening. And it is just as absurd and dangerous as men joining women's sports. But back to the point. If you think that the name Scouting America is about as cringe as it can get, you're in for a treat. So we read a quote from the president, but listen to what he had to say, the CEO and president of Scouting America, what he had to say in an interview with the AP.
Sends this really strong message to everyone in America that they can come to this program, they can bring their authentic self, they can be who they are.
They can bring their
Why? I have never seen a group of people more triggered by the notion of people just being who they are. Like, what? Why is this something that's bothering them so much? She's like, if you think the name change was bad, wait until you see this clip. A guy saying, over here in our organization, I would like everybody to be able to be themselves and feel comfortable and safe. The woke.
authentic selves to Scouting America.
Authentic self. They can be who they are.
They can bring their authentic selves to Scouting America. They can be who they are and be, well, you could do that before. If you were a boy, you could show up and make...
And what if you were a girl? What if you were gay? Then you couldn't do it.
Really, it's like we do not need this. And could the virtue signaling buzzwords get any worse? I mean, it's just nauseating. And they're playing this off as if
we don't need it, she says, after acknowledging she was a girl who needed it.
So genuine and wonderful and inclusive. But guys, there is something so much more sinister happening behind the scenes. This is their last-ditch effort to save the entire organization. I don't know if you guys have followed the Boy Scouts of America news. My family and I obviously do because of our involvement. But take a look at this headline from a few years ago. The list of Boy Scout leaders accused of has nearly 3,000 more names than previously known. And that was in 2019. So obviously I'm sitting here watching this video, reading the press conference, and I'm thinking, okay, so you guys have some baggage? You're trying to rebrand in the public eye so you can avoid more scandal? Because that is literally what it looks like. This is from an article this week, and they wrote, the Boy Scouts' $2.4 billion bankruptcy reorganization plan took effect last year, allowing the organization to keep operating while compensating more than 80,000 men who say that they were as children while scouting. Bankruptcy reorganization plan. There it is. Now, obviously, this is...
Okay. So part of the bankruptcy reorganization plan is also including changing the name and working to make your organization more inclusive. Huh? Where's the conspiracy?
awful, and as somebody whose family was so involved, my brothers obviously had such an amazing experience. This is heartbreaking because this organization was such an institution. It was such a beacon of moral righteousness and goodness, and to watch it just crumble and become absolutely backwards and sinister and now completely politically cucked is so sad. Like, I don't know who advised
So we've got backwards and sinister because of SA, and then politically cucked by just being more inclusive? Okay.
you to take this latest move, but it is quite literally the worst thing that you could have done. Like, if you wanted to save the last shred of integrity of an organization that was so instrumental in the lives of millions and millions of young men and families like mine, this is the last thing you should have done. You should have gone back to tradition. You should have recommitted yourself to building up and protecting good moral men. I mean, the least you could do was try and remember your actual Scout's oath, which, if you don't know, reads, "On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight."
Wow, that's definitely only something men should learn right there. Women, they don't need to learn about being morally secure. No, not at all. That's only for men. That's for the boys.
It's such a profound line. Bring God and country and morality back to BSA. That is what you should have been doing. I mean, if you're not going to shut down, then actually try to fix the rot in your organization. Say, yes, we
Yeah,
screwed.
but what's immoral about being more inclusive? They just mentioned how attendance was down and they need to get attendance up, so being more inclusive obviously leads to more attendance.
Up. We are committed to changing this. We obviously realize that we need good men more than ever, and that you are going to make big changes to help foster that. That is what you should have done. You should have not turned this organization into some genderless, inclusive, authentic Scouts of America.
It's almost like what men really need is to learn that they need to cooperate with other people, that men need to be taught, hey, you're not a man who gets to just call the shots and be with other bros all the time. You're going to have to work with other people. You're going to have to work with women too. You're going to have to cooperate with other people. And it's human cooperation that actually leads to progress and positive results. That's what men should be learning. Not that they need to be a strong man as a man with the men around men. No, it's about being a good, strong, moral person no matter what. And that includes knowing how to cooperate with other people. It's so weird that you're like, men need this male-only space. No, they don't. Men need to know how to cooperate with other people regardless of their gender.
BS. I mean, it seriously feels like we are at a breaking point. Now, this is just insane. Underneath that announcement, somebody posted in the comments a photo of the introduction from the original Boy Scouts of America handbook from 1911, over 100 years ago. And I started to read it. I didn't know what to expect, and I literally got chills. And I have a couple of excerpts here that I want you to hear.
I got chills. Oh boy, here we go. Let's see.
This introduction reads, "We have lived to see an unfortunate change, partly through the growth of
immense cities with the consequent specialization of industries, that each individual has been required to do one small specialty and shut his eyes to everything else, with the resultant perpetual narrowing of the mental horizon." This sounds so similar to the same shit we still hear nowadays.
immense cities with the consequent perpetual narrowing
Yeah,
of the
the decay of small farming. Yeah, this literally is just like, hold on to tradition.
horizon. Partly through the decay of small farming, which would have offset this condition, for each mixed farm was a college of handcraft. And partly through the stereotyped forms of religion losing their hold, we see a very different type of youth in the country today. It is the exception when we see a boy respectful to his superiors and obedient to his parents. It is the rare exception now when we see a boy that is handy with tools and capable of taking care of himself under all
Oh, funny that this was in 1911. Funny that back in 1911, people were still saying the exact same thing. Nowadays, it's rare to see a man with a decent bit of respect. Nowadays, it's rare to see a man pull his pants up. Nowadays, they were saying the exact same thing 100 years ago, Brett. It's almost like your arguments have never changed.
circumstances. It is the very, very rare expectation when we see a boy whose life is absolutely governed by the safe old moral standards. This, it will be seen, is a reproduction of the condition that ended in the fall of Rome. In her days of growth, every man was a soldier. In the end, a few great
That's such bullshit. First of all, Rome fell for so many other reasons. There were outside economic pressures, there were wars, and all kinds of other things that happened. This notion that Rome fell because they were woke or something is fucking bullshit. It is complete nonsense. In fact, Rome also was one of the most long-lasting, successful nations, and Rome was very inclusive of gay people, for example. So how did that lead to their downfall?
great gladiators were in the arena to be watched and applauded by the millions who personally knew nothing at all of fighting or heroism. Degeneracy is the word. That was from 1911, over 100 years ago.
Wow. Over 100 years ago, you guys haven't even got new arguments yet. Damn, that should be really eye-opening. Does that give you chills, Brett?
So that is why Boy Scouts of America was created, to address the fact that something had changed in young men. And they stepped in with their Scouts program to develop strong and capable...
So 100 years ago, something changed in men where they stopped being the manly man. It's almost like there never was a time in which men were these perfect, ideal, manly men. There never was that time.
well-rounded men. And it worked. I mean, I think that their peak was in 1972, if I remember correctly, with millions and millions of members. I mean, people were obsessed. And they did it well. And in reading that, again, I literally got chills reading it again, and I've read it 3 times now. But back to that introduction, I genuinely do not think that I have seen a better example of that maxim, that hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times, and then again, hard times create strong men. Because back in 1911, they were basically dealing with what we are dealing with right now.
Isn't that literally like a fascistic talking point right there? Weak men create hard times. Weak men how? Weak in which way? Do you mean weak physically? Because you don't need to be physically strong in order to wield influence and make positive change.
in 2024, what people in Rome were dealing with when she fell. I mean, we are back in the cycle once again. And so now that we're back, I hope that this is a time when strong men do start to emerge again, because it's time to rebuild. And Boy Scouts of America, you should have done better. This is embarrassing. But you know what? Your time is up. So parents, look for organizations like Trail Life USA, Alert Cadet. Those are all organizations that I've heard of that popped up over the past few years as Boy Scouts has just gone off the rails. They seem like great.
Yeah, Boy Scouts gone off the rails by being more inclusive, and that's all. So Brett Cooper admits that she wished she could have been part of the Boy Scouts. Now that they're allowing girls, she doesn't want them to be part of it because it's woke. Also, Rome fell. Okay. Thank you, Brett Cooper, for pooping all over my brain cells.